calm, observant, never snarky. They called him just the watch repair guy. They were wrong by 7 zeros. A private jewelry salon inside a 5-star hotel glowed like a secret. Velvet trays, low brass lamps, champagne that apologized for nothing. The host skimmed the room with a smile polished to a high shine, then let it land on the black man by the side station. "Careful with the velvet, Chief," he said, chuckling. "Grease hands leave marks." Malik Menza didn't look up. A master watchmaker does not spend compliments on people who don't understand time. He touched the loupe in his pocket, not as a threat, but as a promise. Across from him, Mei Li, Chinese-American luxury fund partner, watched with the kind of attention that earns compound interest. The evening was supposed to be simple, a private reveal of investment-grade pieces for very certain clients. The host told the story every expensive room tells. Provenance, rarity, a family crest somewhere on a wind-scarred coast. You know the script. Only the script had a typo. A gift arrived for a VIP, a custom platinum cufflink, factory-set sapphire, to be paired with its mate on the tray. Photographs, invitations, the soft theater of gratitude. Then, while laughter pivoted and waiters reloaded flutes, the cufflink went missing. It returned 60 seconds later. No one admitted to seeing anything. Rooms like this run on denial until someone opens a loupe. Mei Li had hired Malik for the evening because her partners liked insurance they could shake hands with. Malik wore a dark apron that made people underestimate him, and hands steady enough to coax a hairspring into obedience. He had fixed tourbillons at 3 a.m. for men who thought time would never dare speak back. Time always speaks back. "Do you mind?" Malik asked the host in a tone that pre-forgives refusal. "We do appointments," the host said, smiling. "Tonight is for spectacle." Mei Li's smile was smaller and sharper. "Tonight is for truth." She nudged the tray toward Malik. 2 minutes. Malik flipped the loupe open. Not a flourish, an instrument. He anchored the cufflink under the lamp and narrated for anyone still pretending they weren't listening. Factory platinum leaves a signature under tool pressure. You can fake polish. You can't fake muscle memory. He angled the light across the underside of the post. There, where salespeople never point, sat a micro-engraving. A brand code, a batch mark, an artisan flourish. We are all our habits. He slid a reference loupe to Mei. "Compare the serif," he murmured. "Left curve. The original is a breath. This one is a cough." The host laughed, the brittle kind that chirps when cornered. "Micro-engraving varies," he said. "We're all human. Within tolerance, humanity is a circle. This is a square." He set a tiny neodymium magnet on the velvet. He said, "Platinum is polite around magnets, stays aloof, refuses to dance." He brought the magnet to the substitute post. It leaned in. Only a millimeter, only a second. Polite metals don't flirt. Mei Li's expression barely moved. That's how you know it moved a mile. She said, "Proceed." He unrolled a pouch. Out came a polariscope the size of a confident idea. Natural sapphire argues with light. Synthetic negotiates. He coaxed the stone through crossed polarizers. The image stayed too calm, the way a liar sits too still. "Negotiating," he said, and the room shifted. People who had dismissed him began to orbit. "Are we doing all this over a cufflink?" the host asked, grin fixed like a logo. "Over a method," Mei said. Malik lined the lost cufflink beside the original mate that never left the tray. "Seat height," he tapped. "Prong polish. Facet line. This one is performing improv." He pointed to the tiniest ridge, laser polish instead of hand, where a factory would never leave a tell. Once seen, never unseen. The room found its breath and realized it had been holding it. A socialite in a dress that photographs overtime cleared her throat. "This is humiliating." "For whom?" Mei asked pleasantly. Security at the doorway straightened as if summoned by physics. The host smile did math and lost. Freeze the sale. She did not raise her voice. She did not need to. The music didn't stop. It simply realized it was no longer in charge. Everyone at the table remains. Everyone else steps out. A waiter swiveled, a partner texted a draft language he would later pretend was spontaneous. Malik kept working. Fog test, he said. He breathed gently across the stone. Natural sapphire reads weather. Synthetic clears too quickly. 2 seconds. 1 second. Gone. He turned to the underside again. And the maker's dot here? Missing. He did not gloat. He never gloatingly narrates. He educates. Maker signatures, scam logs, batch engravings. 3 truths that travel with a jewel. Break 1, you don't trust. Break 2, you're staging theater. Break 3, you're stealing. Security returned with a tablet. Quietly, they cued footage. A palm-over-palm move at 43 past the hour. A cough to cover the exchange. The kind of trick you learn watching magicians or sales conferences. The socialite whispered, "This is a misunderstanding." Mei Li said, "No, it's choreography." Refund every deposit, Mei told the host. Call your head office and send the staff a note reminding them the room is not smarter than the truth. She turned to Malik. You just saved us $1 million and a scandal. Malik shrugged, a small decency. I like the invoice to match reality. Mei Li lifted her phone, typed with the finality of a gavel. She said, effective immediately, our salon adopts 3 measures. Maker signatures scanned and verified at intake and exit. Live chain of custody logs. Time, hand, lens. Dual custody on trays. 2 witnesses for every handoff. We sell stories here. Starting tonight, the story includes honesty. The host nodded because there are days when agreeing is the only job left. Malik wiped a fingerprint that wasn't there. Habit. He reseated the genuine cufflink with the tenderness of a parent buckling a child into a winter coat. Where'd you learn like that? A guest asked, curious now that curiosity was safe. In a strip mall shop between a barber shop and a bakery. People brought birthdays and funerals in boxes. I learned to match the beat. Mei Li smiled without showing teeth. I like the way you keep time. Later, while statements formed and publicists rehearsed contrition, Mei stood with Malik in the service corridor painted the color of receipts. She asked, what would it cost for you to build a line with your name inside the movement? He said softly, too much attention. Movements like privacy. She said, fine. Then we build a white label and let the work speak. He looked at her, really looked. Most people don't listen. She said, I invest in listening, and in people who prefer proof. The honest piece survives the close-up. Remember that when the room is loud. The socialite left quietly, a public apology replaced by a private ban. The host brand wrote a letter so practiced it squeaked. The salon published its new policy with uncharacteristic humility. The city forgot by Tuesday. The staff did not. In the days that followed, the video clip of Malik's hand turning the loupe under the lamp did circles online. Teenagers who had never bought anything more expensive than a phone case typed, he caught it with science. Loupe first. Don't mess with the watch guy. Malik's strip mall mentor sent a photo of the old bench with a single line, proud of you. He didn't answer with words. He sent a scan of the new maker's signature, still his, still tiny, sitting where factory habits and honest hands agree. Mei Li's partners argued. They said words like optics and brand risk and will he play well in these rooms. She reminded them that rooms change when the work is good. She didn't threaten to move money. She didn't have to. Money loves gravity. A week later, Mei Li invited Malik to a quieter reveal with fewer cameras and more collectors who speak softly because they can afford to. She placed a vintage chronograph on the mat. She said, indulge me. Tell me what you see. He turned the crown and listened with his cheek. Somebody loved this. Then somebody tried to make it new by making it worse. He pointed to the screws, polished too bright. Real restores do not erase a life. She watched the way he replaced the back, gentle, exact, grateful. She said, "You work like you're apologizing to the past." He said, "Sometimes I am. Then I forgive it by making it future-proof." At the next public event, Mei placed a new card on the table. Scam log available on request. Another. Maker's signature verified. Someone sniffed. "Feels clinical." Mei Li smiled. "Clarity feels clinical until it feels safe." Malik performed a tiny demonstration for the room. He showed 3 sapphires, one lab-grown, one honest, and one honest but badly set. He let people guess. Then he taught them why their guesses longed to be better. "No shame," he said, "only practice." Afterward, Mei offered her hand to step off the riser. He took it without looking away. Cameras clicked because cameras adore mercy that photographs. They walked out past the flower wall bearing a logo that suddenly mattered less. In the hallway, away from wealth's echo, they traded breath for honesty. "Do you like tea?" she asked. "Always," he said. "Bring your own cup," she said, deadpan. He laughed. "I always do." The salon adopted scan logs across locations. The little red dot near the maker's mark became a signature viewers argued about, like film buffs argue about endings. Other houses quietly called Malik to check their integrity without admitting they needed help. He brought a loupe and a gentle way of telling the truth that people could carry home without bleeding. Mei funded a small lab bench in the back of the salon, where light is honest and velvet is only a surface. Malik put a photo of his old strip mall teacher above the bench light. The caption was only a date. 2 months later, a different host tried to speed a sale by skipping verification. Mei walked into the room and stopped the story mid-sentence. "We promised to be boring in the ways that keep you brave," she said. "Verify." They verified. The piece was genuine. The room applauded anyway, because courage isn't only for catching fakes. It's for catching habits before they fail. They started a ritual. Tuesday tea without cameras. Mei brought jasmine, Malik brought a thermos with a dent shaped like a lesson. They spoke about work like it was music. Time signatures, rests, where the melody forgives the rhythm. He told her about a client who wore his father's watch to court to remember his own second chances. She told him about building a fund that does not buy things it wouldn't introduce to children. They didn't call it romance. They called it precision in good company. The world called it later. At a winter gala that smelled faintly of pine and ambition, Mei lifted a microphone to announce a white label partnership with a master watchmaker whose name wasn't on the dial, but whose steadiness lived in every piece. Malik stood behind her the way boulders stand behind rivers. Not in the way, in the world. "Some rooms reward spectacle," Mei said. "We choose to reward evidence." She reached her hand back without looking. He found it without searching. Not flourish, fact. In the outfit world, people will forget the dress and remember the decision. In the time world, people forget everything except what kept working. They had both decided publicly to keep working where truth could stand at the table and not be asked to step outside. They called him just the watch repair guy. History calls him the person who opened his loupe and taught a room to see.